Hi there, this is Himani. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about my interview experience with GABA Corporation, Tokyo. And this is an English conversational company in Japan, and they basically specialize in business communication teaching, one-to-one lessons. So I had applied through a company called Gaijin Pot way back in 2013 when I wanted a visa sponsorship from India. So once I applied on Gaijin, there was a huge application process in their website itself, which I was redirected to. And fortunately for me, they didn't have this criteria of, to be a native speaker of English in order to teach. So my application was accepted, and then there was another application form which I had to fill in, which was a huge one. This was a questionnaire which was a pre-interview questionnaire, which with a lot of situations and an essay, and which I had to prepare myself with and send it to them before they could interview me and shortlist me further. So it had, some of the questions would be like they would give you a word, two words which have a similar meaning, and you need to explain that in a demo lesson to the interviewer, who would pretend to be a student whose English is at a very low level. So they just want to check your teaching skills, which might be worse. That's the idea. So they then show you how to do it, and then they ask you to do it again. So something like a popular and famous, they sound similar. So how do you explain the difference between the two, and that too in a way which is really easy for someone to understand? So the idea of GABA teaching English is to elicit the meaning of any word or any situation from the student. So you just help them with clues and let them come up with it. So for example, nervousness. How do you explain to someone what's nervousness? Now just the explanation, the dictionary meaning, even they can understand from anywhere. But you have to give them examples. For example, being on the stage and having to give a lecture to so many people in the crowd. So how do you feel? Your hands will have some water. What's that? So that's nervousness. You start having butterflies in your stomach. So all of those clues, you don't give the exact meaning, but that's how you help them understand the meaning, so it remains in their head. So yeah. So my first interview happened, and I was lucky, and I cleared that. And then the next interview happened. These happened via Skype, and in the month of December. And then I got to know that I've cleared both of them, and they sponsored my visa, and the documents etc. were processed. And by March, or I think Feb end, everything was ready. I had to book my own ticket. They don't sponsor your ticket. And also there is a 3-day full day training, which also they do not pay for. Once you're done with your training and you start with the lessons, each lesson is paid for. Initially I think it's 1500 yen per lesson, and you have to make yourself available for 40 hours in a week. And so in the month you are ensuring that you earn 2,50,000 or 2,60,000 or more every month. And you can make yourself available throughout the day. It's up to you. There's no restriction on how much availability you should give. So there is a scope of earning more. And sometimes if you have a bad month, you could have less bookings, so you don't get paid for the lessons that are not booked. But on an average, I've seen that every time GABA keeps hiring throughout the year. So every student then takes a lesson from a new teacher, and then another teacher comes, and then they have their own favorites. And so many Japanese people are now opening up, and they want to go abroad and study or travel, so they want to know about the culture. So GABA promotes that through these faculties that they hire from across the globe. And so if a student has a particular requirement that he would be maybe moving to a particular country, say for example India, and he would want to know from an Indian how the country is, what language do the people communicate in, and how expensive, and whatever, like business wise and culture wise, they can get so much information. and your students would be varying, like they could be housewives, they could be students, they could be children, and some studios are specifically for children. So you could opt for and they will also give you trainings from time to time, wherein you can improve your teaching skills if you're not from a teaching background. So they don't actually look for someone who has experience in teaching, but if you do, it's an added advantage. But I mean, all in all, it's fun. Each lesson is 25 minutes, and sometimes they do have their own syllabus, but usually it's fun because students want to come for the lessons, and they want to practice. Not all of them want to just come study from the book and then go back. So that's how my experience was with them, and I got hired, I got my visa. I wanted to work for longer, but I for maternity reasons I had to quit in 6 months and come back to India. And yes, in future, yes, sure, if I go back to Japan and I have an opportunity to work again, I'll surely apply there again. So that was my experience with Kaba Corporation. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and in case you have any other questions, and if you feel, you can ask me, and do stay tuned for my next video. I might want to cover another interview with another company which was not successful. So see you. Bye bye.